Let us consider a conductor which is this is a conductor, okay, which is connected to a source of EMF. Okay, so let's say this voltage here is V, and the length of the conductor is L, and we'll assume that the cross section of the conductor is it's uniform, so it is given by S. Okay, so we'll assume that this conductor is having uniform cross section. Okay, and so when you apply a voltage here, okay, to the ends of this conductor, so this results in an electric field here. Okay, so inside the conductor now an electric field is established. Okay, so this electric field, okay, will result in, as in the previous case, the movement of the charges. Okay, so that is in this case here, the negative charges will move in the direction opposite to that of the applied electric field. So that is in this direction the electrons will start moving. Okay, so this is the direction of movement of the electrons. So this electric field I will indicate here. So this electric field is inside the conductor. Okay, so I will so these electrons now, because of the applied electric field, will be moving in this direction. But the difference between this case and the previous case that we discussed, wherein the electrostatic field is applied to an isolated conductor. Okay, so in the previous case we had a conductor, and this conductor was placed in an it's an isolated conductor, and it was subjected to an electric field. Okay, but in this case the conductor is connected to a source of EMF. Okay, so the electrons which come here will not settle on the surface as in this previous case. Okay, so therefore here in this case no electrostatic equilibrium is established. As in the previous case. Okay, so therefore the electric field inside the conductor in this case is not equal to 0. Okay, whereas in this particular case, once the equilibrium condition is established, the electric field, net electric field inside the conductor is 0, whereas here the electric field is present inside the conductor here. Okay, so because there is no the electrostatic equilibrium is not established. Okay, in this case. So because of this, the electrons will be moving, okay, continuously moving in the direction shown. Okay, and this will result in a flow of current. So the applied electric field now in this case, because it's a uniform conductor. Okay, so we can see that the electric field inside the conductor is E, and this electric field is given by the potential difference between the ends of the conductor divided by the length of the conductor, and the current density, because let's say the current here is I. Okay, and this current density here is given by I by S. Okay, so inside the conductor the current density is given by I by S. We have to note here that the direction of the conventional current, okay, this is the direction of the current. Okay, it is opposite to that of the direction of movement of the electrons. See, electrons are moving in the direction, okay, from right to left, whereas the direction of the current is taken as from left to right in this particular case. Okay, so and this current density is given by I by S. So we can make use of the point form of Ohm's law here, so which states that J is equal to sigma E. Okay, and by substituting for J and E from 1 and 2, so because J is equal to I by S and E is equal to V by L, so we can write or we can define the resistance of the conductor as the ratio of voltage to current. And this ratio we can see that here it is given by L divided by sigma S. Okay, so this is how the resistance of the conductor can be derived. So in this case, the resistance of the conductor is of uniform cross section. Okay, so in this case we can use this formula, but in general, okay, in general the conductor may not be having a uniform cross section. So let us say the conductor is having a shape something like this. Okay, so let us say it's having variable cross section. So the cross section may be varying. Okay, so in this particular case, and let us say the current here is I, and here the current is I. Okay, and at any point here the current density may be J. So in this particular case, the resistance of the conductor can be obtained as, again, the ratio of voltage to current, that is the potential difference between the ends of the conductor, divided by the current flowing through the conductor, and this can be written as, the potential difference can be written as the integral of E dot dl and here that is along the length of the conductor. Okay, so along this any particular path we can integrate E, and here I is given by surface integral of J dot ds, since J is equal to sigma E, we can write it as E dot dl by sigma E dot s. So using this expression we can obtain the resistance of any conductor of arbitrary cross section. Okay, here we can also obtain the expression for the power dissipated. So the power dissipated, we can see that it is given by so we know that the power is given by force into velocity, or the dot product of force and velocity. So here this dF here is the work done in moving a charge dq. Okay, and this force okay, here this dF is the force acting on the charge which is present in a volume dV. Okay, it's like this. Okay, for example, let us say we have a unit volume. Okay, so let's say a volume dV is present here. Okay, and the charge inside is given by dq is equal to rho v dV. Okay, so inside this differential volume element the charge is given by dq, and what is the force acting on this? So the force acting on this is given by the electric field times q. Okay, dq. So dq and E. Okay, and because dq is equal to rho v dV, so we can see that it is given by, so therefore dV is given by, okay, so dF is given by the force acting on the charge which is present in differential differential volume element dV is given by dF is equal to dqE, and this dq is given by rho v dVe. And so by substituting for dF in this expression, dF is given by rho v dVe dot u, or it is given by rho v e dot u. We can combine rho v and u, and it can be written as E dot j, because j is equal to, we know that j is equal to so while deriving the expression for convection current density, we have seen that j is equal to rho v u. So from this expression we can see that this is nothing but the differential power. So therefore the power density which is expressed in joules per meter cube can be written as dP by dV, and it is given by E dot j, or since j is equal to sigma E from point form of Ohm's law, it can also be written as sigma E square joules per meter cube. So this is the expression for the power density in a conductor. And we can see that for a conductor with in general we can from this above expression we can write that we can derive this expression also, P is equal to I square R. Okay. So with this we will end this session. Thank you.